We are the Mexican Grand Prix that has 25% thinner here. Why? Because Mexico City sits at a 2,285 meters above the sea level, which gives you 25% of thinner here, which means there will be less drag and also less downforce. Also, there will be less air for the cars to breathe, and these cars will bring a different shape of the coke engine cover to give it more cooling, and all teams will run on a maximum downforce package. With this high altitude, it changes the way the car feels. But most importantly, we are in Mexico to enjoy racing. In Mexico, we are going to be having cars going on the top speed probably of 362.5 kilometers, which is more than what they go normally in Italy. That's in the Monza GP. But the cars are more slower here. Running in the FP1, we had a lot of rookies running in FP1. For Mercedes, we have Frederic Vesti for George Russell. In Ferrari, we had Antonio Fuoco for Lewis Hamilton. We had Avril Lindblad for Max Verstappen. Browning for Carlos Sainz. We have Paul Aron for Lance Stroll. We have Iwasa Ayumu for Lawson. We have Hirokawa for Oliver Bierman. We have Howard Patricio for Lando Norris. And we had Jack Crawford for Pierre Gasly. So it was an interesting one. Charles Leclerc led the FP1 sessions. Nothing much. FP1 normally is set up. A lot of them will be hiding their hands. We won't really see much. We had Nico Hülkenberg in third. Nico Hülkenberg and that Audi is looking special in this part of the season, and we've seen Audi and Nico Hülkenberg doing a great job. We saw that in Singapore. It shows that there's a progress for Audi. You don't want to miss the FP2 because these drivers that were seated out are huge drivers. They'll be coming in FP2, change the setup. A lot of things will change in FP2, FP3 before we go into qualifying. But we're having a dry season, as in a dry weekend this weekend. So it's going to be very interesting. So in FP2, when we have more data, I'll let you know what is really going down. We are going to see more drivers doing the same jobs and how this will transcend into beautiful racing we are going to have on Sunday. So you don't want to miss it. Yeah. FP2, some teams brought upgrades. The only team that brought huge upgrades is just Red Bull. Ferrari brought an upgrade, but it's a track specific upgrade. That is the cooling louvers. Not just Ferrari brought that, other teams brought that. Red Bull brought an upgrade for the local load, and you see that the sidewalls of the floor had been changed a little from what they brought in the last race in Austin. The edge wing has been changed. The front corner and engine cover has been changed. Not just for reliability, but for cooling. Ferrari brought a rear corner along with the C-spec of the cooling louvers they brought. The Alpine 2 brought the C-specs. Almost all the teams brought the C-specs because it's very important for cooling, like I said earlier, in Mexico. So this is going to be very interesting because we saw Ferrari look strong, and we've seen Ferrari on most Friday they look strong, and in qualifying Ferrari is just off the pace. We don't see them again. You have to be looking for Ferrari as if you are looking for money. That's how difficult it becomes for them during the qualifying and on race day. But I hope they can translate to good pace. The race pace simulation in FP2 didn't look quite stunning, though they were on medium tires. But for the soft tires runners, and I think this is what McLaren are looking at. They're looking at running the soft and the medium because they stayed long on the soft tires. They didn't even leave the soft tires at all. They were on soft tires all through. And Lando Norris was looking like the man to beat because he was doing a very strong 122s, which is great race pace for them if they can maintain that. But his teammate, both in qualifying simulation and in long run simulation, was not looking good. Oscar Piastri was not looking good. The Red Bull on qualifying pace was the fastest. It was about 2 tenths away from everybody, but on race pace was not really looking good. Maybe they're sandbagging, but we know that if Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes are into this, that might bring a lot of decline to the McLaren because McLaren are not looking good at all. Maybe tomorrow we might see McLaren bringing up some learnings from today and changing a lot on the car, and they might get onto pace and look very fast. But McLaren are not looking like they're on pace at all, and I think McLaren need to work on this because this is not looking good for them if they want to win that championship. But Antonelli, I think after the mid-season, he has been on top of his game in the last 4-5 races, sometimes matching George Russell's time and sometimes very close to him. But Carlos Sainz has been eye-opening. In the last 3 races, he's been topping his teammate in qualifying runs, in race pace, than he did at the beginning of the year, though his teammate is far ahead of him, but he's matching him and out qualifying him, and we saw that today. While he was 9th, his teammate was 19th, which is daylight gap. And I think he's really getting into the car. By next year, in which we know the car will be probably equally par, we are going to see these guys, I mean Antonelli, Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton. I think they will be doing better. And if they tell me there's a Ferrari driver that could win a race this season, I think I will still believe Lewis Hamilton is the driver from Ferrari that could win a race this season. Not because he has won the sprint. If you look at his improvement over the time, he's been doing a terrific job. Max Verstappen is super on those braking points, brakes late, especially in sector 3 where you have a lot of braking points. You need to find your braking point, and that is where Max Verstappen and the Ferrari are really having an edge on McLaren. On one tires, the car slides a lot, especially the rear, but it looks more compliant. Also, the Ferrari looks more compliant. It's just finding those points to brake and turn immediately, get those lines right, then it will be bingo. So I think getting into tomorrow's FP3 and qualifying, we are going to see the raw pace after a lot of adjustments. The data they will take tonight, they'll be able to work on those raw data. They'll be able to get what they need and make it up tomorrow. We are going to see Max Verstappen and his Red Bull coming up faster and some other teams coming up faster. Probably we'll see McLaren back into the game. We don't know yet. Well, that being said, Yuki Tsunoda's future is not being decided, but yet I know that it's not a future for that team. Although Toyota has not yet solidified their intent in us, but I think Toyota are trying to be an engine provider in Formula 1. If they do, and us can ditch Ferrari engine, then Oliver Bierman will have to look for another place to go to, because without it going their own way in the engine, as if they get out of the Ferrari contract, Bierman will find his way. They're going to be able to bring a Japanese driver, maybe probably someone like Hirakawa. I did FP1 for Haas, which brings back one of the minorities, the Japanese, into F1, which is great, but I think we really need more of them. The Chinese driver is gone. He's now a reserve driver in Ferrari. Yuki Tsunoda is not certain for next year. It's going to be very interesting to see where the Asians will be next year, with them having great races. Singapore, Vietnam might be coming back, China, Japan, beautiful, marvelous races. They need drivers there. But it's going to be very interesting. Let's see what happens to him. But up until FP3 and qualifying, it's going to be a very huge qualifying tomorrow, because those walls that were not calling today, some drivers will be running into the walls tomorrow. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, like, share and comment. I love you guys. Bye.